Hare Krishna. Narration for Amalaki Vrat Ekadashi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This Ekadashi is described in the Brahmand Puran in a conversation between King Mandhata and the great sage Vashisht. The mighty king known as Mandhata inquired from Vashisht Muni, O most fortunate sage, please be merciful unto me and kindly describe unto me a vow by whose observance I may attain all auspiciousness. The famous sage replied, O king, I will explain to you the glories of and history of Amalaki Ekadashi, by following of which one receives all auspiciousness in their lives. The piety accumulated by observing this great Ekadashi undoubtedly destroys all sinful reactions and easily awards one liberation. It also gives the benefit of offering 1,000 cows in charity. A long time ago, when the world was very ancient, there was a magnificent city called Vaidisha. This city was home to many healthy, prosperous Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudras. O lion-hearted king, there were no atheists in the city at all, and the citizens had not even heard of a sin. The air was always filled with the sound of Vedic mantras chanted by the expert priests, and everyone was very contented by the religious atmosphere. In this fabulous city there lived an honest and pious king named Chaitarath, who was born the son of King Pashabinduka, a lordly member of the dynasty of the moon. King Chaitarath had abounding strength, beauty, opulence and wealth. He was well in scriptures and his citizens loved him. Because of the religious fervor of the people, they would always follow Ekadashi. Due to such devotional service unto Lord Vishnu, the people remained happy in their prosperous kingdom. There were no poor or miserly people to be found anywhere. One propitious year, Amalaki Ekadashi mixed with Dwadashi during the waxing moon in the month of Fagun, February, March. Realizing this Ekadashi was very powerful, the king and his subjects prepared to observe the vow in the river and went to offer puja at the temple of Lord Vishnu. There was an Amalaki, and the king offered due respect by placing a pitcher of water, an umbrella, cloth, shoes, and 5 kinds of precious jewels at the base of the tree. He went on to worship Lord Parshuram with a beautiful canopy, gold, diamonds, rubies, pearls, sapphires, and very fragrant incense. The sages prayed thus, O great Lord Parshuram, son of Renuka, O you who take shelter of this Amalaki tree, O bestower of liberation, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. They further offered poetic prayers to the Amalaki tree. O Amalaki, sustainer of the universe, O offspring of Lord Brahma, O destroyer of sins, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. After offering these prayers, the king and his subjects proceeded to remain awake throughout the night. They stayed in that Vishnu temple and sang songs of glorifications to the Supreme Lord and the Amalaki tree. By Providence's will, a hunter arrived on the scene. The hunter made his livelihood by killing animals and had never seen such a sight before. He was bewildered by the company sitting peacefully and chanting to the Lord. He decided to sit down as well and observe the Sankirtan of the Lord. By way of great fortune, he unknowingly took darshan of Lord Damodar, who was seated atop the pitcher of water. He stayed awake all night, and despite his hunger, he did not eat anything, nor did he kill any animals. In the morning, the king and his courtiers returned to their palace, and the hunter also returned home. Many years later, the hunter left his body, but despite his sinful life, he received liberation simply by the grace of Amalaki Ekadashi. In his next life, the hunter became a king with many elephants, horses, chariots, and a large army. He was known by the name of Vasurath, son of a powerful king called Vidurath, who ruled the famous city of Jayanti. King Vasurath ruled over 1 million villages and was effulgent as the sun and as powerful as Lord Vishnu. He was truthful, tolerant, and fixed in his occupational duties. He was a great devotee. One day Vasurath lost his way while hunting in the forest. He was extremely fatigued and afflicted by hunger. Finding no alternative, the king lay down to sleep in the dense forest. With no pillow, he slept on the bare earth. While sleeping in the way, a band of nomadic Malechas came across the king and thinking him their enemy, proceeded to beat him with their various weapons. Strangely enough, none of the weapons caused even a slight disturbance to the saintly king. Bemused by this magic, the Malechas turned to run away, fearful for their lives. At that moment, an effulgent goddess appeared before them, holding a disc in her hand. She was adorned with various shining ornaments and fragrant sandalwood paste. Raising her arm, she flung the disc at the Malechas and killed them outright. When the king woke up, he was astonished by the gruesome scene and became frightened. Seeing that his fearsome enemies were all dead, the king exclaimed, "Who is my protector? Who has slain these enemies for me? I offer my heartfelt gratitude to such a well-wishing benefactor." Just then a voice from sky thundered, "Who else but Lord Keshava is capable of protecting his surrendered souls? He alone is the maintainer of the surrendered devotees and the universe." After hearing this voice in the sky, the king's heart melted in devotional ecstasy. Knowing that he had been saved by the Supreme Lord, he considered himself very fortunate. With increased faith and determination, he returned to his palace and ruled just like Indra without obstacle or hindrance. The sage Vashisht concluded, "My dear King Mandhata, anyone who observes this sacred vow of Amalaki Ekadashi undoubtedly achieves liberation and returns to the abode of Lord Vishnu." So this Ekadashi fast is observed next day on the Dwadashi. Because according to the Vaishnav calendar, the Ekadashi day itself on for fasting for the Amalaki Vrat Ekadashi is not suitable, so we fast on the next day on Dwadashi. Hare Krishna.